Everybody's lives from the east into problems, and then you want us to stand behind violence? Has any of you taken the time to listen to Nnamdi's radio channel for 1 hour and hear the amount of hate? The hate! I don't speak on this because it pains me to my blood. I know what we are facing. Has any of you taken the time to listen to Nnamdi's radio channel for 1 hour and hear the amount of hate? The hate! I don't speak on this because it pains me to my blood. I know what we are facing. Has any of you taken the time to listen to Nnamdi's radio channel for 1 hour and hear the amount of hate? The hate! I don't speak on this because it pains me to my blood. I know what we are facing. Has any of you taken the time to listen to Nnamdi's radio channel for 1 hour and hear the amount of hate? The hate! I don't speak on this because it pains me to my blood. I know what we are facing. And hear the amount of hate. The hate! And hear the amount of hate. The hate! And hear the amount of hate. The hate! And hear the amount of hate. The hate!
Ifegeme, ogeme, ifegeme nebata, ogeme, nwanne mo, ogeme nebata. Something go happen, yo. Something go happen today. Something no one name more. Something go happen today. I say he go happen, no, he go happen, yo. Something go happen today, oh. Something no one name more. Something go happen today. Lord have mercy. My people, now how on a day, I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending from where you're listening to the sound of my voice. This is the Biafra Superstars Media. My people, you heard from that young girl, a naive lady speaking, and at the end she was stressing one point. She was saying if we could listen to the video or the broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu for just 1 hour. Just 1 hour. And we shall see the hate from Nnamdi Kanu spewing out from the mouth of our leader Nnamdi Kanu. I understand sometimes when he was doing his broadcast, perhaps it was mainly we the Biafrans enjoying those gospels because we knew they were the word of God. We knew they were prophecies. So I've decided in my heart to take my time to go back into teaching mode, where I'll be analyzing some of the broadcasts of Nnamdi Kanu. Then perhaps that way people will now understand this man called Nnamdi Kanu, the broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu, the information entails in those broadcasts. Because sometimes to call a spade, I know most people, those who are not in the movement, they perhaps don't have the time to spend 3-4 hours to listen to our leader Nnamdi Kanu. So I'll be taking snippets and breaking it down. And for those who have not listened to Nnamdi Kanu, but who heard this girl, that girl speak bile from her mouth, and they were happy to crucify Nnamdi Kanu. They were happy to make her a champion. She went viral. The media of Nigeria made sure she went viral. I will start doing a series. And please, I'll be meticulous in this one. Nobody else should try this. If you cannot do it, please don't go into this lane. Allow me to show the Nigerian Zoom media that when it comes to knowledge, we the Biafrans were number one. When it comes to the intellectuals, we the Biafrans were number one. Forget what they are saying and the propaganda that they are pushing out there. So please, I'll plead to all you all in the media, leave this lane for me. Allow me to carry on with this lane. where I will play this girl saying if they can watch a video of Nnamdi Kanu, a broadcast for 1 hour, they will see the hate in him. I can't believe that a Biafran girl who watches Nnamdi Kanu for just 20 minutes, I didn't even say 1 hour, just 20 minutes, you will know that of a truth, you've listened to the man of God, a prophet of our time. So at this point, this man you are seeing here is Zakzaky, the leader of the Shiite. I want you to hear what he said in this video. And then I will pull out the broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu for y'all to hear one of the gospels of Nnamdi Kanu. Way back before now. And you will see that of a truth, Nnamdi Kanu is a prophet of our time. But I don't expect the Pharisees, the Gentiles to appreciate him. Because all of you who are saying you love Jesus today, 2,000 years ago, you were the same people calling for the crucifixion of Jesus. In fact, you released Barnabas over Jesus. So now that in hindsight, you now know that of a truth, Jesus is the Son of God. Of a truth, he is the one, he is the Lamb of God who came to the world to take away the sins of the world. Of a truth. He died on the cross. Of a truth. He resurrected on the third day. Of a truth. He is a man of God. Of a truth, through him, we can be with the Father. Of a truth, through his name, we are saved. Of a truth, through the blood of Jesus, we are set clean. But 2,000 years ago, you called him a madman, a charlatan, a criminal, a fraudster, a drunk, who called himself the King of the Jews. How dare he? A blasphemy, according to you all. And you asked for his death. You asked for his death. This same thing that happened to Jesus is happening to Nnamdi Kanu in the 21st century. We all knew what happened to Mandela back in the days. Even in Britain, he was called a terrorist in Britain. But today, I'm being told that there is a statue of Mandela in London. They call him a man of peace. A man of exemplary ways that people should adhere to and follow. At this point, let me take our sister to school. Not just her, but those who believe in this narrative that Nnamdi Kanu, everything he says are evil. He's a bad man, as they claim. He's a terrorist, they called him. An international terrorist. Through the Yoruba judge, he tagged him an international terrorist. Let's start with the video of Zakzaky. Let's go there.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. You know, this security program was actually created. And it was created by those in authority. And if they want to stop it today, they will stop it because they are the ones engineering it. How comes Bush people who have been known to be cattle rearers, how comes they have guns? Where do they come? These guns come from? How comes those people they call bandits, they have armored vehicles, including tankers in the bush, and they call them terrorists or enemies? How come they have this? If it is in Maiduguri, where did the tankers pass? Is this they came from the earth or they came through? Where did they get the tankers? You have to every sane person know that the authorities are behind this insecurity. If they want to stop it today, they can stop it. All right. Now, by inviting those who are perpetrators of this, yeah, they will make it more aggressive.
Let's hold it there with all due respect. The question he's saying is, how come? How come there are AK-47s littered all across the land of Nigeria? How come there are armored trucks, armored tanks? Where did they come from? Did they came from the dust? Last time I checked, for anybody who wants to even bring in a car into Nigeria, you have to import those cars. It is extremely hard to smuggle a car through your borders. How come they are there? This is the question asked by the leader of the Shiite. I'm going somewhere with this one. I'll be meticulous with this one. Let's take it back and listen again. Listen.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. You know, this security problem was actually created. And it was created by those in authority.
Hold it there. This insecurity situation is actually created by those in authority. Who are those in authority? Those in government. This security or insecurity happening in Nigeria was created by those in government. Let's continue.
And if they want to stop it today, they will stop it because they are the ones engineering it.
If they want to stop it today, they would stop it. Why? Because they are the ones engineering it. It means they are behind it. It is through them, the engine of the security. I call it the sine qua non. Oh my God. That's me going too intellectual. Nigerian government is the sine qua non to insecurity in Nigeria. It means that they are the ones they are the engine oil to the insecurity you are seeing in Nigeria. I'm going somewhere. Let's continue.
How comes bush people who have been known to be cattle rearers, how come they have guns? Where do they come? This guns?
This is the $1 million question nobody has even tried to ask. How come cattle rearers, bush people as I call them, a nomadic people whose business is all about cattle rustling and cattle herding? Those who are so primitive that when they feel sick, they drink the urine of their cow. When they feel itches on their body in the bushes, they shower with the urine of the cow. When they feel hungry, when they need water, when they want to feed, in most cases, they suck on the breast of their cow. Those who live in a primitive way of life, don't get me wrong, there is a belief to an extent that the urine of cow can cure some ailment or whatever. Even the blood of the cow, sometimes they puncture the neck, and when the blood is coming out, they drink of the blood. I understand in some cases, in some cultures, that might be a way to, to sanctify yourself or whatever. But that's the level of people, that's the reasoning skills of the people we are dealing with. Just their level of maturity, their intellect, their capability and capacity to life at this stage. They are still operating at a primitive level. So how come they're having guns? Not just guns, but AK-47, rifle, rocket-propelled grenade and all those things. Rocket launchers, you see them carrying these things? How is it possible? Even when they're carrying their ammunitions, see the way they are looking, very dirty, very unkempt, very skinny, frail. They look sick, they look dirty. They've not showered for weeks. You could tell their hygiene is very, very poor. So how come can they have those kind of sophisticated weapons with them? How come? Those questions is something that we keep on pondering, those that wants to know the truth about what is happening in Nigeria. Because last time I checked, even your so-called cult members in universities, those who are intellectuals, the intellectuals, the best they could have are pump action guns. Your criminals on the highway, your highway robbers, the best they could have are den guns, homemade guns. that they call it one shot and one reload. In most cases, those guns will even jam. The bullets will jam because they are homemade. But these dirty looking animals, primitive animals in the bushes, the bushmen, as he calls them, are roaming around through and through Nigeria with sophisticated weapons, wearing the camouflage. And they are fine. Nobody is stopping them. But you and I, you know, even if you find yourself in Nigeria, if you are flying from USA and you touch down in Nigeria, if you are wearing a camouflage cap, a camouflage jacket, or a camouflage jeans, you are in trouble. The army will stop you, they will beat you, they will whip you, they will strip you naked, ask you to roll on the floor, and you will run like a madman naked in the streets. If they see you with a locally made gun on your hands, they will shoot you dead in Nigeria. Even in Biafra land, if they see you with a bullet, you heard the story of that young boy who was going to the stream. And the local authorities of the governors, they saw that young boy. And in a bid to kill him, they dropped a bullet on the floor and they said, oh, he's a shooter. Look at a bullet on the floor. That's his bullet. He's a shooter. For the fact they threw a bullet on the floor, they used that to justify the killing of that young boy who was going to the stream to fetch some water in Biafra land. That's how strict they are when it comes to we, the Biafrans. That just seeing a bullet around you, not on you, around your periphery, there, around you, you are a dead man. But these so-called terrorists you are seeing around, they are going everywhere through and through, carrying AK-47, magazines on their body to discuss peace deals. They are wearing military regalia. You guys know in Nigeria, no civilian dare dress that way. But it's okay. It's acceptable. How come they are condoning it? How come your army are condoning it? How come they are carrying guns and your police will see them and let them to continue with their journey? How come? How come? How come? These are the questions being asked by this great man here, the leader of the Shiite. Let's continue.
How come those people they call bandits, they have armored vehicles, including tankers in the bush, and they call them terrorists or enemies? How come they have this? If it is in Maiduguri, where did the tankers pass? Is this they came from the earth or they came through? Where did they get the tankers? You have to every sane person know that the authorities are behind this insecurity. If they want
everybody knows, Lord have mercy. It is clear that the authorities are behind it. One of the charges of Nnamdi Kanu was that he brought in a radio transmitter. Because of that, he was tagged a terrorist. A radio transmitter. Most of us, before the coming of YouTube, when we're doing our podcast, if you want to get more viewers, you need a stronger radio transmitter. Back in the days, I also bought one here in the Western world. You put a radio transmitter on the top of your roof. That way, your broadcast as a DJ or whatever, it will go very, very fast. So on Fridays and weekends, when you are mixing your music, doing your live broadcast, you'll be having more views. People are calling you around the whole country or around the whole world. It's normal. But to them, having a radio transmitter makes you a terrorist. But these guys can come in with military trucks and vehicles, armored vehicles, and they go to, to do deals with them, to negotiate with them. They say, don't call them terrorists, call them bandits. No, in fact, call them the farmers and herders clash. But a man who brought in radio transmitter to reach out to his people, Unfortunately, I think in 2015, Nigeria was still struggling with the internet. Internet was still a thing of a luxury. It was very, very expensive back then in Nigeria. So the best way to go was to go and get a radio transmitter to preach out the gospel of Nnamdi Kanu and Biafra to the whole of the, the bite of Biafra throughout the whole region. That was his intention, to reach out. But to Nigerian government, doing that makes you a terrorist. It was one of the charges brought against him, Nnamdi Kanu, for them to give him life in jail. And they said, in fact, they would have given him the death penalty, but out of pity, he was given life in jail. But every day when you look at your news, you see the way those terrorists that they call the headers clash and all this nonsense. They've lowered their name now to bandits to make it sound more palatable in the mouth. Bandits. You see them carrying armored tanks through and through Nigeria in the bushes, and you're asking yourself, how did they get these things? Who even trained them to use it? How were they trained to use these things in Nigeria? How did they come through the borders of Nigeria? If a man who was bringing in a radio transmitter was intercepted, how come the bandits can roam through and through with all these weaponries, armored vehicles, and the rest of them? You see, you Nigerians don't want to think. I understand that because of tribalism and all those nonsense. You don't want to think. When your brother is in power, then it's okay. Whatever is going on, you keep a blind eye to it. I understand that. But for the critical thinkers out there, if a man was coming through with a radio transmitter by himself and he even struggled to bring it into the country, what about those who are roaming around with these vehicles, AK-47? How are they getting it? Here in the Western world, you must have a surety, a guarantor. Your ID will be checked before they can give you a license to carry. I repeat, before here in the Western world, they can allow you to carry guns, to be licensed carrier, you will have a surety. They will check your criminal record. You will have somebody who is a guarantor to say you are somebody of high repute, of good behavior, and the rest of them. They will know who you are. They will even check your mental capacity before you are given that license to carry a weapon. And not only that, once you leave your city to a different state or whatever, immediately you are going to the next police station to register yourself as somebody who is carrying a firearm in that place. That's how strict they are. If by mistake you go into a new town without telling anybody, then you've broken the law. But in Nigeria, you see those dirty-looking terrorists going through and through all across Nigeria, carrying their guns to do peace deals. And they are accepted, they are welcomed, they are loved. Your NSA came with a policy known as a cheese policy. FFP, where they feed them, they fund them, and they pay them every month. They feed the terrorists, they fund the terrorists, and they pay the terrorists every month. And you ask yourself, what's really going on? If your government are so soft with the terrorists, then who is them behind funding them with their weaponry and the rest of them? Lord have mercy. Let's continue.
Today, they can stop it. All right. Now, by inviting those who are perpetrators.
Okay. At this point, you have heard from the leader of the Shiite, Zakzaky. So the class is about to begin. Now, this is a snippet from one of the broadcasts of Nnamdi Kanu. I want you to hear what he said back then. And everything he said is happening today and has even been confirmed by the man you just heard, the leader of the Shiites, Zakzaky. If you are ready, to that girl who said, when you hear just 1 hour of Nnamdi Kanu, you go berserk. I want you to hear a snippet of Nnamdi Kanu. And I hope after you've heard this gospel, this prophecy, everything he said here is exactly what is happening now. I hope you will take the time to go and search for the broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu and watch it. Let's go there. Listen.
Now let us hear from the mouth of the Fulani terrorist that the APC brought him into Nigeria. Let us hear from them. Listen, how's that? AK-47. If I'm lying, what did this man say? I will translate for you. Let me read what this man said. I swear to the Almighty Allah, that is the government, that is APC government, so-called Buhari government, that is giving arms to us. Fulani don't know what gun is. We are only headsmen. Cows don't give birth to guns. I swear to Allah, we are on our own, and the government gave us AK-47. I am not afraid to say the truth. Did you know where they said that in front of Sheikh Gumi, Abubakar Gumi? He went to the forest to go and meet the bandits, and the bandits told him it was the government that gave us the guns. We don't know what guns are until they give it to us. That's why I asked you, if they're coming all the way from Mali and from Niger, how did they cross the border with guns? If you claim that those terrorisms are from Niger Republic, so you don't have customs and immigration in the north anymore, and you're from the south and you're shouting one Nigeria, do you see the depth of your foolishness? Can you see it? When I say it, it's not out of hatred. People say, oh, I don't like his style of agitation because I tell you the truth. Now let us hear from the mouth of the Fulani terrorist.
Now let us hear from the mouth of the Fulani terrorist. Hey! My God, have mercy, Nnamdi Kanu. May your days be long. May your days be long. This is the privilege we had back then, listening to this man. Even though sometimes some of us, we think the things he was saying, we're not too sure. We say, are you sure? How can the government do that? You know, some of the Pharisees amongst us, they were in doubt. The Stevens amongst us. When he was preaching this thing, then people hated him because the government knew this man was speaking the truth. He was exposing them. Nigerian government, they were angry with Nnamdi Kanu because he was exposing them. Today, you all know now that, okay, yes, it is the government supporting the terrorists. But this man told us way back in the year 2021, in the year 2012, in the year 2015, in the year 2017. This was his gospel. That was why the Buhari government, they were so angry. They wanted to silence him. They went all the way to his home to kill him. A man on bail. Nigerian government took the arms of the law, the power of the law, to his house to go and kill a man on bail. Ask yourself why. Because the Buhari government knew this guy was exposing their plan. And they were not happy about it. They were not happy about it. So even while on bail, they went to his house to kill him. Now, none of you have spoken about this. During that time, his only crime was he brought in a radio transmitter. All you have to do is go on Google and Google radio transmitter, check the images. There are different types. During my heydays, when we were doing this, our disco, whatever they call it, a DJ, we used to have radio transmitter when there was no internet as we have it now, when there was no YouTube. It's normal thing. It's normal to have it because he came from the UK. He understood the culture of the Western world. In America, everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, if you are into music or radio, whatever, you must buy yourself a radio transmitter. That was normal. There are cheap ones, there are expensive ones. The more expensive, the more bandwidth you will have. It's normal now. Eh? You make a music, to make your music go far, you get the radio transmitter. As you are playing from the radio, people are listening to it. You are with your microphone, you are talking. Hello guys, how you doing today? It's a Friday. Guess what? This is my new song. Listen to it now. Here we go. Bam. Then as they're listening to it, you don't say, now please call on, the TV station, the radio station, ask them, to play my music. It's the normal thing. Throughout the whole Friday, the weekends, we used to do it back then. But we needed a better radio transmitter in the Western world. So when they said he is guilty of radio transmitter, I was just laughing because to Nigeria, you guys, to an extent, it sounds alien to you, or for someone to buy a radio transmitter. It sounds alien to you. I understand there are some rules and regulations through your NBC. I understand that. But in freedom fighting, you don't expect him to now go to the NBC, say, hey, and to the government officials, I now have a radio transmitter. It's not done that way now. Even back in the days, radio Kudirat was going on. Your president today, Tinubu, used to speak on radio Kudirat back in the days. Radio Kudirat back in the days. For the release of Chief MKO Abiola, where they were speaking out the truth. They bought a radio transmitter to reach the whole of the Yoruba land and also in the southeast. In the Biafra land, we're also listening to what? Radio Kudirat back in the days. Where they were exposing what the Nigerian military were doing. Abacha regime and the rest of them. It's the same stuff. It's the same thing. I wouldn't expect them to go to the military and say, please, I want a license for radio transmitter, to do our broadcast for the radio Kudirat. It's not done that way. It's not done that way. But they accuse this man of a terror act. A video by the then president Buhari was saying he brought in a radio transmitter. Very, very dangerous. This man has 2 passports. Do you know this man has 2 passports? Excuse me. Here in the Western world, most of us have 2 passports. If you are a dual national, then you must have a 2 passports, with all due respect. One in the country where you are based, and the country where you are from. So what's the crime of having 2 passports? I ask myself. That was their intention, to paint a doom around this man, to make him look like a bad person. But let's continue. Let's continue. He told you here, let us hear from the mouth. Oh my God. Nnamdi Kanu, may God bless you. Because in most cases, what he's doing is he quotes them accordingly. So not his views. He's telling you what is happening. Things we are not entitled to. Things we don't have the privy to. He will bring to us. And most of us, we sat there as good students and listened. I was a student of Nnamdi Kanu. I couldn't believe what he was saying. I'm like, it's not possible. How can these Hausa boys that help us to fetch our water back in the days, how can they be carrying guns? That's not possible, man. Okay, I like what he's saying, but I don't believe him because there's no way those guys could buy guns. How would they get the license for those guns? That was me thinking from the mind of somebody living in the Western world. Because I was thinking, to have a gun in Nigeria, you will have to go to the police, you have to do some registration, you need to bring some ID, proof of your address, your bank statement, your mental health condition, I was assuming that was going to happen in Nigeria. So there was no way the Fulani headsmen will have sophisticated weapons with them. And when I was in that zoo, the Hausas we used to see back then, they carry stick to herd their cows. So I was thinking this man was telling lies. When I first heard him, I thought he was telling lies. I said, no, it's not possible. They will never have guns now. Now, wow. Now, stick that they use now. They carry stick now, not guns. Because then, for the first time, this man, Nnamdi Kanu, was telling me what was happening in Nigeria. I was deaf, dumb, and blind. I have left the world called Nigeria. I have left Nigeria for good. I abandoned Nigeria. I was enjoying the best of life in the Western world. And I said goodbye to that dark world called Nigeria. So I didn't care about your politics. I didn't care about your government. I didn't care about what was going on in Nigeria. I was done with Nigeria, never to return to Nigeria. Until during the time of COVID. That was when it now dawned on me. I said, okay, what's really, man, if it's happening here in the Western world, how is it happening? What's going on in Africa? I need to know what is happening in Africa. So when I went online and I checked, what I saw was scary because they were so confused. So I said, what is the media saying about these things in Africa? And that was when I saw this great man, Nnamdi Kanu, speaking. Just like Moses in the wilderness. And I asked myself, what is he talking about? They are coming, they are coming. Who is coming? Nobody is coming. Who is coming to take over Nigeria? It's not possible. It's not possible. Who is coming? Nobody is coming. I was once like you all. I was blind, but now I can see. What opened my eyes was the broadcast of this great man you are seeing here, Master Nnamdi Kanu. I didn't believe him. I said, that's not possible. That's not possible. The Hausa now, come on. These guys, they were gate men back home. You know, back then, they were gate men now. What they do, they're very, very soft. They are calm now. They are very, very shy people. They just help us to fetch the water. And those that head their cows, they use stick. Then they use stick to head cow now. It's not possible for them to carry guns. I was once like that girl who is saying, 1 hour for Nnamdi Kanu, 1 hour, 1 hour. I said, this guy, he's talking trash. It's not possible. The Fulanis or the Hausa, I call them the Hausa then, they are nice people. They use stick to head their cows, not guns. Because I was thinking from the perspective of me as a young child in Nigeria back then, seeing those Hausa then carrying stick to head their cows. So that was what I had in my own mind. I never knew that some today are carrying sophisticated weapons like AK-47, AK-48 and the rest of them. I said, no, that's not possible. But I kept on listening because during those days, we were working from home. If you remember, during the time of the COVID, you don't have to go to the office. We were working from home. We were working from home. So I had the time to log into, to YouTube, see what's happening in Nigeria, in Africa. Then when I saw this man's broadcast for the first time, I couldn't change the channel. Something was speaking to my heart. Something was speaking to my heart. Something was awakening something in me that I chose to bury. To call a spade, I forgot all about Nigeria. I said Nigeria is a dead zone. It is a hell. I saw Nigeria as hell. So I forgot about Nigeria and I was enjoying the best of life in the Western world. I was helping the white man to build his empire. And because in the Western world, to an extent, there is no tribalism. Yes, there is racism, but there is no tribalism. So to an extent, if you do very well, you will have those jobs, the promotions and all those things. I was managing a team of staff. The money was good. It's still good. I was doing well. Something Nigeria could not give me. I was enjoying it in the Western world. So I said, okay, this is life now. It is time to have your family, your children grow up in the Western world and build from there. It was goodbye to Africa. But through COVID, I heard this man's gospel. Thank God for the radio he was doing back then. And sometimes I catch the radio on YouTube. I was like, what's this guy talking about? I couldn't change the channel. I couldn't. I was trying to switch off. I couldn't. I waited. And I could feel the pain of this man. I'm saying, why is this man angry? Why is he speaking this way? But everything he was saying were factual. But I could not fact check him because I didn't have the information, the latest information of things happening in Nigeria. I was done with Nigeria so many years ago. So what he was saying was strange to me. So when he was saying, these guys are coming to the land to take over the land, I said, that's not possible. That's a lie. But one of the gospel I heard was this one here. When he was preaching, broadcasting, he now said, now let us hear from the mouth. That was why I had to go back, search for this snippet of this video. The moment I heard from the mouth of the Fulani headsmen saying these cows, these guns, so they didn't have these guns. It was the government that gave them the guns. I said, what? Those who are carrying sticks, they are carrying guns now? I couldn't believe it. So to the whole world, I'm starting this series by showing the very video that changed my perspective. When I now knew, like in the case of the prodigal son who went about enjoying his life. But one day, the land he came from needed him, and he did a turnaround and went back to the land. That was how I felt after I heard this very broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu. These lines you're about to hear are the ones that changed me. And I knew there was a problem. And I knew there was a fire on the mountain. That if these headsmen we used to love that carry stick are now carrying weapons, they are everywhere. They are in the farms. They are in our village. They are in our streets. Our neighborhood. They are there. So if they are carrying guns, it means our people are not safe. So for the last time, let us hear from Nnamdi Kanu those words that touch someone like me and made me to do what I'm doing now. Let's take it back. Listen.
Now let us hear from the mouth of the Fulani terrorist.
Now let us hear from the mouth of the Fulani terrorist. During this time, they were calling them farmers and herders clash. Oh no, they were just bandits, some miscreants, in the farm. No, they're just farmers and herders clash. They were doing what they were doing because of what? The climate change. Yes, there is climate, there is drought in the north, so they're just moving around, and there's a clash between them and the farmers. It's not in America. Don't worry, America. Joe Biden, don't worry. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a clash within the farms. It's normal. These cows, some of them are too, they're too playful, and they just ate some of the crops. And when they argue, they clash, they fight, and that's it. But with time, we shall come with a route, a cattle route where these cattle might use, but we cannot stop them from doing what nature permits them to do. Due to the climate change, they have to migrate. It's normal. So they are coming from the north to the south because the grass in the south, they are greener. That was what was sold to us, and we believed it. So when he said, let us hear from the mouth of the Fulani terrorist, I was worried. This was way back. I said, how can you call them terrorists? No. These are the, the aboki we used to see now with their stick. They are nice to us now. They even bring us milk. They are not terrorists though. What is this guy talking about? That was how I felt back then. But when I heard this, and I heard them, what they said in their language, and it was translated to English, I now knew there was fire on the mountain. Oh my God. Oyendo, God bless you. Continue again.
Now let us hear from the mouth of the Fulani terrorist that the APC brought him into Nigeria. Let us hear from them. Listen, how's that? AK-47. AK-47. If I'm lying, what did this man say? I will translate for you. Let me read what this man said. I swear to the Almighty Allah, that is the government, that is APC government, so-called Buhari government, that is giving arms to us. Fulani don't know what gun is. We are only headsmen. Cows don't give birth to guns. I swear to Allah, we are on our own, and the government gave us AK-47. I am not afraid to say the truth. Did you know where they said that in front of Sheikh Gumi, Abubakar Gumi? He went to the forest to go and meet the bandits, and the bandits told him it was the government that gave us the guns.
In front of Sheikh Gumi, Abubakar Gumi, a man that you all love to hate now. You say, oh, let the government go and arrest Sheikh Gumi. Sheikh Gumi, go and... Nnamdi Kanu spoke about him way back. Through him, they got this testimony. Now, I hope you understand why the Tinubu government cannot touch Sheikh Gumi. Because to an extent, it was through him that they now got the revelation that those headsmen you are seeing there, those terrorists, your government that you love, your Nigerian government you love, they are the ones giving them the weapons. So for those who are saying, I believe in Nigeria, God bless Nigeria, I love the government of Nigeria, Nigeria go better. You love your army, you love the police, you love the navy, you love the customs, you love your politicians, and you believe they can do better. You believe in Nigeria, God bless Nigeria, you say. Through Sheikh Gumi, we had the first revelation that it was your government that was giving them those weapons. These things were said by Nnamdi Kanu way back. But nobody listened to him. They were angry with him for saying these things. So to an extent, Sheikh Gumi, I have no problem with him. Because he knows there's some few things he knows. When he says those things, perhaps you guys will not be ready to get such information of him. But at least through him, you all know that the weapons of the Fulani bandits were given to them by whom? The Nigerian government. Nnamdi Kanu took his time to break it down. We're getting this information from the broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu while you all were sleeping, doing your dancing. While the other tribes were having a good time, saying, oh, we are doing partnership with politics. Now you see why we refused to accept Buhari when he came the second term for office. Because we now had the information of what is going on in your Nigerian government. Something you guys are not privy to. Most of you claim there's a partnership, there's a deal you now have, there's a mutual understanding you have with Nigeria, the Southwest and the North. There's a beautiful partnership. Today, Kwara State is going through it. Kogi is almost gone. Oyo, they are crying. Ogun, there is IDP camp there. Benue, Plateau. Lord have mercy. This man saw everything that he told us. This was the information we're getting from the broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu. Where the same terrorists, they spoke with their mouth. And this info was gotten from whom? Sheikh Gumi. So respect to him. Yes, he's saying some things now. But don't blame him. Don't blame the man who came and reveal to you that these terrorists you are seeing here, they were here because your government gave them the weapon. I won't go back to the history. You know what happened in the 2015 election. You know what they did, how they brought them in. I won't go there. I won't go there. But to that by my sister who is saying, Nnamdi Kanu, if we hear 1 hour of his broadcast, what he's saying are bile, according to him or her. Young girl, go and take your time and listen to the broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu. I understand you are now in a privileged zone where, you know, you are working at the National Assembly. You are privy. And you are hoping to follow the footsteps of the senators and the House of Rep members. I understand that. To you, being in a position now in government where you can debate in the House of the National Assembly is a privilege, and you're hoping in the next 6 years, in the next 10 years, you might perhaps become a senator or a House of Rep member. So I understand where you lean when it comes to Nigeria and freedom from Nigeria. To that young girl, I understand. Do you? Do what you love doing. Do you? But please, don't use your selfish ambition to destroy the works of this good man. Because what you said about Nnamdi Kanu were wrong. They were lies. Let's wrap it up.
What guns are until they give it to us. That's why I ask you, if they're coming all the way from Mali and from Niger, how did they cross the border with guns? If you claim that those terrorism are from Niger Republic, so you don't have customs and immigration in the north anymore, and you're from the south and you're shouting about Nigeria, do you see the depth of your foolishness? Can you see it? When I say it, it's not out of hatred. People say, oh, I don't like his style of agitation because I tell you the truth.
Let's hold it there. I'll leave it there for now. Everything is said back then, today, in your media, Zakzaky is saying it now. Everything Nnamdi Kanu said back then, today, in your media, Zakzaky is saying it now. Everything Nnamdi Kanu said back then, today, Zakzaky, the leader of the Shiite, is saying it now. Now, I hope you understand. Nnamdi Kanu was indeed a prophet. I hope now you get it. This is the beginning of the series. I will call it the Gospel of Nnamdi Kanu. My intention was not to do this because I don't want to use that girl. Sometimes you don't have to throw away the baby and the bathwater, but I will use her snippet for what she said as a learning moment, because I believe perhaps because some so-called Nigerians have not had the time to listen to the broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu. They thought when he's speaking, he's only speaking about the Igbo. You heard what he said here. He takes his reference. He has his sources when he speaks. Today, you all love the very dark man now. But this man, what he was doing back then was similar. But he was speaking the truth for Nigerians. So this will be the beginning of the series, The Gospel of Nnamdi Kanu. I rest my case. For those that have ears, let them hear. For those that have ears, let them hear. No more talk.
Nnamdi Kanu is a clear example. In 2022, Nigeria's Court of Appeal struck down the charges against him and ordered his release. The UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention has also called for his unconditional release. Yet he remains in solitary confinement, in deteriorating health, and recently had to represent himself in court. Nigeria has signaled that the law is optional and targeting Christians is fair game. Just hours ago this morning, despite the pleas and cries of the Nigerian people and many Nigerian lawmakers, Nnamdi Kanu was convicted on all charges. For fiscal year 2025, The U.S. has requested nearly $8 billion for sub-Saharan Africa. But when Americans see political prisoners, judicial defiance, and the slaughter of Christians, they understandably ask as they meet their own struggles, why should our tax dollars support governments that refuse to protect their own people? Is our aid aiding a genocide? Nigeria is a nation of tremendous potential, but that potential is being choked out by violent persecution of its Christian population. No country can build a stable future where churches are burned, believers are killed, and communities live in fear.